in our Revelation lesson 22, the most exciting action-packed book of the Bible. And we're in Revelation chapter 8 and verse 1. And when he had opened the seventh seal, so we're coming to the seventh seal of that seventh seal book, there was silence in heaven about the space of half an hour. Now, at the opening of the seventh seal, when Jesus opened this, then there was, and who opened the seventh seal? All right, Jesus did. And then the next question, when the seventh seal was opened, there was silence in heaven about the space of half an hour. Now, that's talking about earth time, not heaven's time. If it was a half an hour heaven's time, it'd be about close to a couple hundred years earth time on that. But that's earth time, and it'll be just a few seconds there. There's been a lot of jokes made about that passage on that, and why there's silence and what was going on in that. The truth of the matter is that I believe, and we don't have any real definite scripture to tell us why they were silent for that. I believe it's because of what's going to happen when he opens the book. Of the events that's about to come. They stand in awe. It's been terrible up to this point of all that's happened. And the worst is yet to come. And it's like looking at, you're about to see a train wreck, and you can't say anything. You're just in awe about what's there and how horrible it's going to be that flows through your mind. And so I think that's the reason why there was silence in heaven at this time in the opening of the seventh seal, because here we get into what is termed as the indignation of the Lord. Now these are judgments, and all of this throughout the book is judgment, but this was judgment upon Israel, the Antichrist, as being the false Messiah. The Jews accept him as that. They rejected Jesus when he was here the first time, and then they find that he doesn't bring peace. The next one is judgment of war and famine and death, and then we find the martyrs are wanting their revenge on for their death involved in that, and then it looks like the whole world was going to be destroyed when he opened the sixth seal. Now the seventh seal is very special. We're fixing to get into the book itself. And so in verse 2, and I saw the seven angels which stood before God, to them were given seven trumpets. And so we find that here John sees seven angels. And each one of these angels received a trumpet. So question 3, how many angels received trumpets? Now you know 7 is symbolic of completion, perfection. So these 7 trumpets, as they sound those, that particular judgment is going to be complete in that of what God is bringing because of the sins of the people and what's going on. So in verse 3 now, another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne. And so what was given to the angel that stood before the altar with the golden censer? Incense. This is like a perfume type of thing that you would burn on the altar that gives off a sweet smell, and that is for pleasing God in there. But the angel was to offer the incense with the prayers of all saints. Now the golden, question number 6, the golden altar was before the throne. Now you need to go to my website and go to the course on books written in heaven. And you'll find that there are about 10 books that God keeps records of all of us in heaven on there. And one of them is the book of prayers. Your prayer is valid until it's answered. One of the examples of that, there was a young couple that prayed earnestly for a child. The wife especially, she had confidence God was going to give her a child, and she told others that she prayed for a child, but God never gave her a child. And so they called her Elizabeth the Barren. They got up in years still no child. Got to the point where they couldn't have children as far as their age was concerned. It wasn't safe or anything else in that. And past childhood of that bearing. And one day her husband, Zacharias, was in the temple, and he was performing his duties in the temple, and Gabriel, the angel, appeared before him and told him that his wife, Elizabeth, was going to have a child. His prayers were answered. First of all, he said, your prayer is answered. Can you imagine him scratching his head and said, what prayer? That prayer you prayed when you were a young man. God knows how to say the word no. So if you're praying for something and you don't have a definite no from God, and it's just silence, you'll be answered, but in the right time. Of course, John the Baptist was born, and you know the story of that. So here we've got the prayers of all the saints down through the years have been offered at this time. And verse 4 and 5, and the smoke of the incense which came up with the prayers of the saints ascended up before God out of the angel's hand. And the angel took the censer and filled it with fire of the altar and cast it in the earth, and there were voices and thunderings and lightnings and an earthquake. So question number 7, the angel filled the golden censer with the fire of the altar. Then number 8, the angel cast the fire of the altar into the earth, and there were voices, thunderings, lightning, and an earthquake. So this was quite an event. Now, I didn't give you a chance to mention about whether you had a question or not, and onto this. So I'll ask the question that you should have asked. What were the prayers of the saints? What were they praying that this angel offered up with the incense on that? Well, we find the results of this. He takes the fire of that altar, casts it in the earth. That means tremendous judgment is coming, and there's voices and thunderings and lightnings and earthquakes. They weren't praying for peace. They're about like the martyrs on there. When are you going to bring your righteous judgment? Aren't you sick of all the sin that's going on? You know, I thank God that this is the time of grace. But, man, I think His grace is about to come to an end. And He does have a limit to His grace. When you get to heaven, talk to Noah. He'll tell you He has an end to His grace on that. Talk to Lot about Sodom and Gomorrah. He had an end to His grace on that. And then, this tribulation period is just there. So this is what's coming in the matter of God's righteousness being done. Now, at verse 6 of Revelation chapter 8, and the 7 angels which had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound. And so now we've got these 7 angels at the period with the 7 trumpets. They are ready to sound, and the period of indignation is about to happen on this earth, and the 7th seal book will be opened. So the 7 seals is the blowing of the 7 trumpets. All right.